And we welcome you into Wild Wing Cafe. Now, normally this is the Coach Mike Young Show, but we're doing a kind of a riff on a local network or a national network program called Mike and Mike. We're doing Mike Ayers first, Mike Young second, so we're going to split up the hour because football, and the good news is, football is still playing. So, Coach Ayers, welcome.
Glad to be here.
Good to have you on the program. You guys just had a week off, got the first round bye in the playoffs, which I know when I asked you about initially, you were very, very happy. What did the guys do for Thanksgiving? What was the practice schedule leading up to right now?
We had 3 practices prior to letting them go for the holidays, and they were quality practices. We tried to focus, quite frankly, not on everything, but just on the basic fundamentals. We tried to work really hard as far as open field tackling, worked hard in the kicking game, and then looked at New Hampshire. Really a good football team. They've been in the playoffs, I think, 8 straight years, and they play in a great conference up there. When you look at their team, very well coached. The schematics of their offense is amazing. I would say that their playbook is probably about 10 inches thick because they throw about 1 million different routes, and they run a lot of the zone read stuff. They'll also run most of the time you're reading the tackle, but they'll read the tackle. They'll read the guy that's lined up on the guard with what we call a 3 technique, and they'll also read the nose guard. And they have 2 quality quarterbacks. Both of them are very athletic, can run. And then you look at them defensively. They're an 8-man front. They're solid. They are really solid. And the 2 interior guys are around 300 apiece. Their 2 edge guys are tall, rangy guys, 6'3", 6'4", 250, and they can run. Inside, their 2 inside linebackers are big guys, 6'2", 6'3", and in that 245 to 250, and they're bangers. I mean, they'll step up in that hole and they'll eject you. You look at their secondary, primarily they're a 3-deep configuration that they'll also run what we call a robber type concept. If anybody's ever studied like Virginia Tech, they're very similar to Virginia Tech as far as they've got 4 guys with their hands in the dirt, and then you've got 2 linebackers, 2 outside backers, and then the 3 deep guys. So we've been looking at film.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, we have. And I think today we started about 7 a.m. in the morning, and we finished about a half an hour ago. So we're doing our best to try to come up with the best game plan that we can. We're starting to get healthy. All of our quarterbacks were able to practice yesterday. There's still a couple of them that are not what we call contact guys, and we'll see how it all works out. The interesting thing about the playoffs, probably most people don't understand it, but instead of you playing with the players that you have on your team, you've got to select 60 guys, and then that's it.
Yeah, travel or home, it doesn't matter.
Correct. Same number.
So you've got to trim your roster down, and we'll talk about that in a future segment because that's probably not easy, especially at certain positions. But I want to get back to the health situation. The South Carolina game, which you competed extremely well in, losing 24-7, but a 7-7 game early in the fourth quarter. Mike Nyam did not play in that game at inside linebacker, a key performer on your defense, had a neck injury. How's he doing?
Well, I think he's fine. He practiced last night, and it was, I think, a strain. All the muscles in his neck kind of just tightened up, and he just didn't have the mobility or the range of motion that he needed. Linebackers have to have their heads on a swivel, and that's literal, and he wasn't able to do that, and we didn't want to take any chances. The guys that came in, they did a great job against South Carolina, and it'd been nice to have had Mike there, but we were trying to look at the big picture and wanted to make sure that if at all possible, we had him healthy, wealthy, and wise for this one.
Back to the quarterback spot for a moment. Michael Weimer took one snap in the game at South Carolina, ran an option play, got tackled, looked like he got hit right on his knee.
He did.
Which is the injury he was coming back from, and he left the game immediately. But it's my understanding it wasn't as serious as initially thought.
Right. From what we get from our trainer, Will Chrisman, he's a guy that took a shot, and nothing from a structural standpoint was damaged. They felt like it was probably more just scar tissue being kind of moved around a little bit. Yesterday he was out there, he was running full speed, and he looked good. I will promise you this: if he can't be cleared to go, we're not going to play him. We're not going to play anybody.
Right.
We're going to play the guys that are healthy, guys that have been signed off by our athletic training staff and our doctors.
And Brian Cass also left the Carolina game with that hip pointer again. Has he been able to take some snaps in practice?
Yeah, he didn't take any last week, and he was back. He took some yesterday. I'm not sure how that thing will go. It's an injury where when he gets hit on it, it starts all over again. So not really sure where he's going to be at. I would like to say that he will be 100% healthy, but I'm not sure.
And then just the state of the ball club health-wise, there's so many bumps and bruises and dings we don't talk about because that's just the nature of football. Did you notice after a few days off for Thanksgiving, a chance to go home and eat mom's cooking, the guys came back with a little more of a spring in their step?
Oh, no doubt about it. They each take turns talking to each other about what they ate, and so I doubt if there was a whole lot of training going on except with a fork and a spoon. But it was good that they had the break. It was good for the coaches. We'd been on 8 straight weeks, 8 straight tough football games, and some of them were, well, all of them were for the conference championship.
Sure.
We had to get it done, and we were very fortunate to be able to come up with that last one against Chattanooga, and then you felt like, okay, we won a share of the Southern Conference Championship. Man, that's great. Oh, by the way, we're playing South Carolina.
Right.
And there was no downtime for that one either, because our preparation for South Carolina was no different than the top teams in our league. We prepared as well as we could and got our kids ready to play, and except for a couple turnovers, that thing could have been real special.
Yeah, it could have been magical.
Yep.
Visiting with Coach Mike Ayers, we're live from Wild Wing Cafe in downtown Spartanburg. This is Inside Wofford football and basketball tonight. We'll come back and visit more with the coach as the Terriers get ready for this Saturday's playoff game against the New Hampshire Wildcats. This is the Wofford IMG Sports Network. All right, we're with Coach Mike Ayers. Wofford getting ready to play New Hampshire on Saturday. I guess the million-dollar question whenever you play an unfamiliar opponent, Coach, is do you have any film on them defending the triple option? To your knowledge, have they faced a triple option in the last few years?
No.
Yeah.
I can answer that real quickly. We have no film, and as far as we know, we do not think that they face a 3-back concept. So I'm sure that when you try to look at how to defend us, they've got our previous 11 ball games. And what they'll do, they'll see what defenses marry up with theirs or match up with theirs, and then what they'll do, they'll come up and they'll create their own package. I don't see them changing a whole lot. That they may have some nuances as far as how they want to play their DN, what option responsibility they want to take. But bottom line is, if you've been coaching this since the start of camp back in August, you're not going to flip. You're not going to change a whole lot. You want your kids to be comfortable with the defense. You want them to understand the techniques inside and out, and then go play. And I'm sure they're confident. They feel like that they can come down here and stop us and score enough to win the game. So we've got to be on point with our offense. We've got to do a great job of taking care of the ball, and we got to move the football and score points.
They have a player, and for fans who come to Gibbs on Saturday, their linebacker, number 52, if you're in the stands. Matt Evans has won the Buck Buchanan Award. He's in line to possibly do it again this year. I think he's got 115 tackles on the season. I'm sure you've taken a look at him.
Yes.
Does he remind you of anybody you've seen in the past, and what makes him such a special player?
Well, he's a very heady player, very instinctive, and he's a big kid. He's got the weight behind him. I think he's 6'3", 250 or 258, something like that. Plays in his legs. He's one of those guys that's a fundamentally sound football player, and he's a striker. When people try to run it north and south on him, he's going to knock you backwards. And we've got times that with our offense that we're going to ask 175-pound halfbacks to block him. But what we've got to do is give him a chance, and hopefully we'll have it low enough on his body to where we can get him down on the ground. If you try to block that guy up high, he'll put you in the nickel seats.
New Hampshire goes with a 2-quarterback system. Talk a little about their quarterbacks. What kind of players are they?
Both of them athletic guys. Both of them, quite frankly, remind me of Mitch Allen. They have real good throwing skills. They're both athletic, great change of direction. Quarterback draw is a big play for them.
Yeah.
And we've seen them time after time. They'll fake like they're going to throw just a bubble route, and then all of a sudden, instead of him releasing the ball, he pulls it down, and then he'll go north. Their offensive line blocks extremely well, and if you get guys that are overplaying that bubble screen, which is a big play for them, then they're going to run that football straight at you.
As far as their receivers, what kind of ability do they have to stretch the field?
Well, I would say that they're very similar to a lot of the top receivers that we have in the league. You know, everybody's got one or two. The thing about them, they throw the ball so much, a lot of 4 wides, and all 4 of them can get down the field. All 4 of them can stretch you vertically. They all 4 have good ball skills, and they all 4 block well.
All right, final question. When we talk about New Hampshire, sometimes we overlook special teams.
Right.
Their punter's averaging about 35 per kick. Their field goal kicker, his longest is 43. He's hit about 75% of his kicks. Their extra point percentage is actually pretty low on PATs. But other than the raw numbers, what about their kicking game? What do they have in the return game especially? Well,
I think that, you know, the guys that they have are good guys. They're not anything where you can take a break on. The kickers themselves, they've had some problems. Their place kickers especially. That's why they've gone for 2 a lot of times.
Yeah, 9 times this year.
And that's another thing that adds to the mix that you got to prepare for and got to be ready for. When you look at their return guys, I've looked at every one of them, and if you give them space, they'll hurt you. If you're sound, if you keep the play side arm free, and if you tackle well, you're going to be all right. Their punt protection, their punt rush, they do a nice job on that. Their kickoff cover, they do a nice job on that. So they don't have a weakness. The thing that I think is, I think we match up pretty well with them. That the big question mark is how does our offense match up against their defense? Offensively, for them, they're scoring 35 a game, and that's a lot of points. And so we're going to have to be the complete team. I don't think we can be a 2-legged stool and expect to stand. It's one of those situations where we got to do well in the kicking game, offense and defense.
All right, final question. I want to give you the opportunity to let fans know how much it would mean to your guys to have a packed house on Saturday.
It's huge. I mean, it is huge. And I know that we can't put as many in Gibbs as Carolina can down there,
yeah.
But the intensity and the energy that is created by the fans when you're at home, it's a huge help. And we've played some good ball at home, and we've had some really good crowds at home, and we need them to come to this one. We really do.
Coach, good luck. We'll see you Saturday at Gibbs.
Thank you.
All right, that is Wofford head coach Mike Ayers joining us. That's the first half of the program. Inside Wofford football and basketball tonight from Wild Wing Cafe. We'll talk round ball next. We'll be visiting with Wofford head basketball coach Mike Young here on the Wofford IMG Sports Network. Welcome back into Wild Wing. All right, second half of the program, we'll deal with the basketball program. We're joined by Terrier head coach Mike Young. Just was on the road for what, 9-10 days, 5 games?
It was a while. Seemed a lot longer than that.
So do you want to go to the NBA next? Because
No.
that's what they do.
No, thank you.
No.
I'm good right here.
All right. You have a very young team this year.
Yeah.
And let's start with that. You've gone from teams with the Noah Dahlmans and the Jamar Diggs and the Brad Losings of the world and winning conference championships and going to the postseason to a team that is 13 freshmen and sophomores. So for you, for Coach Harrison, for Coach Hauser, your staff, what kind of a shift has that been for you guys?
It's a seismic shift. I mean, it is. They're receptive and coachable, but until you've gone through it, Mark, and day in, day out, and the preparation and the travel and the hotels and so on, it's a different animal, as it was for Los and those guys.
Sure.
when they were rookies. It's part of the process,
But it's been a while, hasn't it?
it's been a while. It has been a while. Every day I see something that I haven't seen in a long time. It's just a part of coaching, and with 13 freshmen and sophomores, something that may appear or has appeared to be quite simple or easy, maybe something very basic in terms of a movement defensively, offensively, that is not natural for them. It's not easy. It's not basic for them. So it really had to go back and do a lot more teaching. That's been fun, actually. But what has made it a lot of fun is how receptive they are and how eager they are. I love that about this team. They have wide eyes and big ears, and they understand what's at stake. And the quicker we can get them, up to speed, the better off we're going to be. We're going to be fine in time. We a little bit of one step forward, 2 steps back right now. But I told them today at practice. 2010, 2011, after 7 games, what was our record? It's the same as it is this year.
Yeah.
And, the other thing, Mark, I mean, you go to Ohio, that doesn't resonate with, your fan base. Ohio's a top 25 caliber team.
Right.
They are terrific. They beat Richmond, who I think is really good, like a dog on Saturday or Sunday, 73-48, something like that. Richmond is really good. And then you got to win on the home floor at Wilmington. Let one get by us there. We didn't play very well, and then at Ball State. So, one day at a time, we'll get them where we need to get them.
It's funny you were talking about how it takes patience, it takes time, it's a building process. Do you have to rediscover your patience as a coach?
You know what? Not so much.
Okay.
I've never. We've known each other a long time.
Sure.
I'm not an impatient person with old teams. I think it would be a poor emotion on my part to be impatient with young teams. I've got Spencer Collins out there, 7 games into his college career, fighting like a dog to do the right thing and make the right play. There's nothing about me that's going to be upset with Spencer or any of those other guys when mistakes are made. The last time I checked, that's coaching.
Yeah.
And if I'm, my emotion is to be upset and be mad at them. Well, I need to find something else to do. That's not very good coaching.
All right, we're visiting with Coach Mike Young live from Wild Wing inside Wofford basketball. All right, welcome back into Wild Wing and the Coach Mike Young Show on the Wofford IMG Sports Network. Terriers back to the Benjo. Not many home games leading up to the first of the year in conference play, but you got one Wednesday night. Winthrop is coming in. The Eagles under Pat Kelsey, who's in his first year at the program after kind of an interesting story. He was at Xavier for a while as an assistant, took a year away from the game, and then Winthrop brought him in. You know Coach Kelsey
Pat
some?
Very, very well. And admire him a great deal. He was with Coach Prosser at Wake Forest, and then went to X, and recharged his battery. I think was dealing with some things with the loss of Coach Prosser and so on. And Winthrop made a good hire in getting Pat Kelsey. He's a very good basketball coach, and he'll do nice things at Winthrop.
All right, Winthrop is led by Derek Henry, a 6'3" sophomore. He is averaging close to 19 points per game, a kid out of Georgia, Covington, Georgia. He is listed as the shooting guard. What kind of problems will he pose? What kind of a scorer is he? He's a spot-up guy? Or?
Strong. He's a strong kid that can put it on the floor a little bit. He can catch it and shoot it. A pretty well-rounded scorer. I've seen their Indiana State game. I've seen some of their Lenore Ryan game. He's he's one of those guys that everybody has one. He's geared to score and scores in a variety of ways. Gets the foul line a lot. Stocky kid that's a tough guy. That we'll have to do a nice job with him.
Looks like they've got some size in the post too. Bourne goes 6'8".
James Bourne.
Steve Johnson goes 6'8". They've got a 6'9" kid off the bench.
Yep.
Shola Jop. So how skilled are they in there?
James Bourne's pretty good. Matter of fact, we recruited James Bourne. Would like to have had him out of Bishop O'Connell in Arlington. Big, left-handed. Bounces around there pretty good. Good offensive rebounder. Good defender. Pat's probably about where we are right now. Just, still putting pieces together and trying this and experimenting with that. They've got a senior that I like a lot, Gideon Gamble, who's a redshirt senior, has been around and played a lot of basketball for them, that has had his moments and has had a pretty good career at Winthrop that will give us some concern going in. 6'8", a long, agile three-man. So, it is college basketball. We're going to have to play well to win, but it certainly will be nice to be back in Benjo, and we'll look forward to playing.
And for our fans coming out to the Benjo for the first time, they're going to see some new faces. We mentioned all the freshmen on the club, and I want to talk about some of the new guys. Now, Indiana Faithful was with the team last year, but due to an NCAA rule, he was not able to play last year, so officially he's a sophomore, and I know that's a burr under your saddle. But all that being said, he's running the point, 6'4" kid. What have you seen out of him early in the season?
I think, Mark, that Indiana through 7 games is a kid that the year off, that's hard.
Yeah.
That's really hard.
Especially when you don't expect it.
And especially when, it comes out of nowhere. I think that's had a real adverse effect on him. It's one thing to be hurt and have to sit, but to be healthy and for technicalities, he's on the shelf. He's sputtered at times. He's had some good moments. I thought he was very good at Ohio. I thought he's pretty good at Richmond. Still, waiting on him to come on into his own. He will. When he's been good, he's been really good. And he's had some tough times, and that's a part of the maturation process, and he'll be just fine. I've been really impressed with Spencer Collins. He hasn't always been great, but He's such an eager guy. He's in the gym this morning, first thing, shooting 500 shots before class. Spencer Collins will be next in a long line of very good backcourt players for our program, and just a joy to coach. C.J. Newman is going to be a good player for us. The hairline fracture. And if you saw the guy, well, you saw him.
I saw the play.
People saw the kid that hit him, and it was completely inadvertent with an elbow, and has a hairline fracture of the jaw. Fortunately, didn't have to wire his mouth shut, and he's going to be on the shelf for 2 or 3 weeks. He was beginning to come into his own, and I started him for the first time in that game, and thought that that he would play 25 to 30 minutes, and that was with the thinking that he would stay out of foul trouble. Of course, things change. And then got that injury, so we'll look forward to having him back, hopefully sooner than later. But whenever he's healthy, we'll have him back. Brian Harris has had some medical issues here in the first 3 weeks. Nothing serious. He's back in uniform. He's playing, but missed some of the preseason stuff with his issue. And he's a talented guy. Played at Massanutten at a very high level and was a very good player for them. We need for him to come on some, and when he does, he'll be a huge help to our backcourt. And there are others. It's a good group. It's a really good group. And
Justin Gordon's
going to be very good around here. Need for him to embrace what he is and who he is. He is a wonderful guy. He's a freshman.
Yeah,
he's a freshman. He needs a little more time in the smokehouse. We've had to throw him to the fire here a little bit. Has had some great moments. Has had some freshman moments, but I'm excited about where he's headed and what he'll do for our team.
You brought up C.J. Newman. It's going to be a little while longer with that hairline jaw fracture. When he comes back, can he be a back-to-the-basket kind of post player?
He can be. He's not. He's not gravitating to that area right now.
Yeah.
He's a lot more comfortable on the perimeter and handing off, and he made a 3 against Ohio, I believe it was. He's very comfortable out there. Now, there will be a time, he's probably 225 right now. There's going to come a time he's 240, 245. He's very good around the post. He's got very good feet. I don't think he's real comfortable there yet, but he will be. And when he develops that facet of his game, that's as you know, that's a much needed aspect of what we want to do, what we need to do, and he's the most ready to do that, probably another month away.
All righty. We're visiting with Coach Mike Young. We are live from Wild Wing Cafe here in downtown Spartanburg. This is Inside Wofford Basketball.